So in this screencast, we're going to look at some projects that use decisions within Microbit. So our very first project that we're going to do is a project for a greeting. So we're going to create a variable called greeting. We're going to pick a random number between 0 and 1 and store it in the greeting variable. And then we're going to check to see if that random number is 0, then we'll display hello. Otherwise, we'll display goodbye. So we'll go into makecode.com now and create this project. So we're in a new project in makecode.com. I'm just going to select forever and bin it. So on start, I'm going to go to variables. I'm going to set item to. I'm just going to change item, rename variable, and I'm going to call it greeting. Click OK on that. And then I'm going to go into math, and I'm going to go pick random 0 to 4. Remember, we're picking a random number between 0 and 1. I'm going to change the 4 to 1. Sorry, I seem to have deleted that there. So I'm just going to go pick random 0 to 1. And then I'm going to go into logic, and I'm going to check if true, and I'm going to use the if then else in this particular case. Because remember, we need to check if greeting is 0, then we want to show hello, otherwise we want to show goodbye. So here I'm going to go back into logic, and I'm going to bring across the equality. I'm going to drop that in instead of true. I'm going to go back into variables and pull across the greeting. Now it's saying if greeting equals 0, go back into basic, show string hello. Otherwise, go back into basic and show string. I'm going to change the hello to goodbye. So now when I start it, so this time it's printing out goodbye, so the number was 1. Restart it again, the number again is 1 because it's printing out goodbye. Restart it again, and this time eventually we get a hello. So again, that's just the random numbers in the background. Now I'm doing this on start. Of course, I could just do that on shape, on button A pressed or whatever. So if I go back into input here, if I had button A pressed, and then just drag my blocks up and get rid of the on start. So now this time it is always on the button A that we get a new version. So it's going to just print out goodbye, and then I will check it again, and it's goodbye again. I'll click it again, but I need to wait until it finishes. It's goodbye again. Seems to like goodbye on this one. Not sure how random those numbers are. It's goodbye again. Am I ever going to get a hello? And there's the hello. So that's my first one, which is just a greeting. So the next project we're going to do, now again, I need to change the name of it, just to remind you here. Change the untitled, and we're going to call it greeting. Save that, and then it saves it to your downloads. So the next project we're going to do is we're going to simulate the tossing of a coin. So we'll have a look at what we need to do for that, and then we'll create the code. So in this case, we're creating a new project. We're going to create a variable called coin, and we're going to pick a random value, true or false, and store it in that coin variable. And then we can check to see if the value of coin is true. We'll display a H for heads, otherwise we'll display a T for tails. So this pick random true or false is perfect in this case, and we could actually have used it in our previous project for greeting, but I just wanted to show you a few different ways of doing these things. So now we'll go to makecode.com and make this project. So we're here in makecode.com and we have a new project. I'm going to change the untitled and call it coin. Just going to save that. And then this time I'm going to do on shake. Get rid of the forever. So I'm going to go into input. I'm going to say on shake. I'm going to go to variables. I'm going to set item, and I'm going to change item to coin. Now I know it says that it's renaming, but it still seems to keep the item. The item just seems to be a default one that it always keeps, so don't worry about that. I'm going to click OK here. So I'm going to set coin to, and I'm going to go into math, and I'm going to pick random true or false. So if I just drag that across, now it's going to set the coin to pick random true or false. And here we're then going to go back into logic. I'm going to check true. So here I've got if true then else, and then I need to go into variables. Sorry, I need to go back into logic, check for equality here. So I'm going to check coin, so I'm going to go to variables, drag across coin. So if coin equals, and in logic here I have a true that I can drag across. So this is saying if the coin is equals to true, then I want to show string, and I'm going to just show a H for heads. Otherwise, now again I can just duplicate this block here, bring up show string, and put in a T. Again, notice when I duplicated that block it wasn't attached to anything, so it was grayed out. Remember, anything that's grayed out will never be executed, so you need to make sure that nothing in your code is grayed out. So now what we have is on shake set coin to pick random true or false. If the coin equals true, show string H, otherwise show string T. So let's try it. Let's do the shake here. We've got a tails, head, lots of heads now, tail, head, tail. So you can see that it's simulating the tossing of a coin. So the next project that we're going to do is we're going to simulate the sorting hat from Harry Potter. So in Harry Potter, the sorting hat tells you which house you're going to be in. And I've used this quite a bit with some students, and they just seem to like the idea of tying it back into something that they know. So let's look at what are we trying to achieve with this project first, and then we'll come back to makecode.com and we'll actually create the project. So for the sorting hat, we want to create a new project again. We're going to create a counter variable called house. We're going to pick a random number between 0 and 3 and store it in that house variable. And then we're just going to randomly pick the various different houses. So the 4 houses are Gryffindor, Hufflepuff, Ravenclaw and Slytherin. So I'm just saying if the value of house is 0, then we're going to go for Gryffindor. If it's 1, then we'll display H for Hufflepuff. If it's 2, then we'll display R for Ravenclaw. And if it's 3, then we'll display S for Slytherin. So we'll go into makecode.com now and create this project. So here in makecode.com, we've created a new project. Again, I'm just going to get rid of the 2 defaults. I'm going to go to input. I'm going to drag across on shake. So remember, what we need to do first is we need to create our variable. So I'm going to go to variables. I'm going to set item to 0. I'm going to change the item and rename it. I'm going to rename it to house. So we're going to set house to, and then I'm going to go to math, and I'm going to pick random 0 to 4. I'm going to change the 4 back to a 3 because remember there are only 4 houses. So I've got a 0, 1, 2, and 3. Remember 0 is going to be Gryffindor, 1 is going to be Hufflepuff, 2 is going to be Ravenclaw, and 3 is going to be Slytherin. So we have our house variable now, and then I need to go into logic. I'm going to go if true then else. So here I'm going to go to logic again. I'm going to check for equality. I'm going to bring this across. So now I'm going to check if something is equal to 0, and in this case it's going to be variables. If house is equal to 0, then I want to show the string G for Gryffindor. Else, now if I go back in here again into the settings, I can do an else if, so I'm just going to put that in there. So now I can check for another if, so this is known as a nested if. So I'm checking if the house is equal to 0, then I show string G. Else if, and I can just duplicate this block here, so I can say, actually this time I want to check if house is equal to 1. So if house is equal to 1, we had said that we would show the string H for Hufflepuff. So I'm going to show the string H here for Hufflepuff. And then again, I can put in another else if. Drag that underneath again. So I have another else if here. Remember to get out of the settings here. I'm just going to duplicate this block again, drag it down, drop it in there, and this time I'm checking if house is equal to 2, I'm going to duplicate the show string and drop it in there. So when the house is equal to 2, it's a Ravenclaw, or for Ravenclaw. And then finally I have my else here. I'm just going to duplicate the show string, and I'm going to put in S for Slytherin. Now you might ask, why haven't I put in an if statement on that last else? Well, remember, the only values that we can have are 0, 1, 2, or 3. So if I've checked to see if it's 0, it's not 0, so it goes into the next if. If it's 1, it's not 1, so it's going into the next if. It's not 2. So when I get to this final else, the only value it can be is 3, so I don't actually need to check it. So this is a nested if statement, and sometimes it's useful to use a nested if statement, sometimes it's not quite so useful. I suppose the main advantage of using a nested if statement here is, if you find that the house is equal to 0, it doesn't check any of the other ones. If I had all of these as different if statements, it would check each one every single time. So it's just really, I suppose, a design choice, and really it would be something that you should be thinking about. The one thing I would say is nested if statements tend to get a little bit complicated sometimes, so you need to be careful and make sure that what you're putting in is correct. So your testing will need to be quite rigorous to make sure that it works as it should. In this case, it's quite a straightforward case, so I would go for the nested if. So let's just do a test of this. So I'm going to go shake. So it's Slytherin first, then Ravenclaw, then Hufflepuff, Ravenclaw again, Slytherin, Slytherin, Ravenclaw, and Gryffindor. So all 4 of them. And again, you just need to check to make sure that all 4 will come out at some stage. So I hope you found that useful on projects using decisions.